Nico, and good evening to Professor Jia.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Good morning, colleagues, participants. Perhaps we should begin because it's time 1 p.m. of Central European time. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear participants. On behalf of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, may I welcome you to this webinar entitled Sustainable Black Soil Management, a case study from China. I'm Yuxin Tong, work at FAO, and will be the moderator of today's webinar. Black soils have been prized for their rich organic matter content and the great nature fertility. However, this rich treasure is under threat. FAO, through its international network of black soils, is committed to the conservation and the sustainable management of black soils. In order to raise awareness about the vital role of black soils for food security and climate change mitigation, and introduce good practices on sustainable black soil management, Black Soil Network and its members decided to organize a series of webinars. So today, we'll be listening good stories and practices from China, a big black soil country. In today's webinar, there will be one introductory speech and 4 technical presentations. We will be giving you an overview of the formation time of black soils. We will be focusing on the sustainable agriculture and the challenges of black soils in China, in Northeast China. We'll be also be hearing from experts about the manure and straw returning benefit stability for black soil microbial ecosystem. After all the presentations, we will be discussing this hot topic with the audience. So how is this going to work? Dear participants, please write your question in the question and answer format in the Zoom, specifying which of the panelists you would like to address the question to. We will then select the questions and try to get through as many as possible in the discussion part. So without further ado, I would like to invite the first speaker, Dr. Mr. Li Feng Li, the Director of the Land Water Division of FAO. Thank you very much, Mr. Li. Please, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Yuxin, and Chair and the members of the International Network of the Black Soil of Global Soil Partnership, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depends on where you are. It's very glad to meet many of you. I was looking from the chat. We have the participants from many countries, from Singapore, Zambia, Pakistan, Lesotho, Nigeria, India, Brazil, Ghana, Ethiopia, and many. A warm welcome to all of you, and thank you very much for your interest in this webinar. To start, I'm very pleased to present to you the International Network of Black Soils, which use the acronym INBASE, which is one of the 7 technical networks of FAO's Global Soil Partnership. As mentioned already by Dr. Teng, black soils are the most fertile soils on the world. They are distributed in many regions across the globe, such as the Great Plains of the North American, pampas of the South America, the Eurasian steppe and the northeast China, and other places in Africa as well. Black soils are characterized by their high organic matter content, dark color, and also their fertility and also ability to retain water. They are essential for the production of the crops and livestock. To understand the status of the challenge of the black soils at the global level with the support of the International Network of Black Soils members, FAO launched the Global Status of Black Soils report on the World Soil Day in December 2022. I can share with you that the report highlights that black soils are carbon-rich and highly fertile soils that cover 722 million hectares of the land surface. Although only approximately account for 7% of global cropland occurs on the black soils, 66% of the sunflower seeds, 51% of the small millet, 42% of the sugar beet, 30% of wheat, and 26% of potatoes were harvested globally from the black soils. This is why black soils are called the food bucket of the world. And this is also the reason why they are intensively and extensively being cultivated. Dear colleagues, today's webinar on sustainable black soil management, a case study from China, will turn our focus to China, a country that has made significant strides in managing these precious resources. Our journey in this webinar will explore innovative strategies and practices that have been implemented in China to preserve and enhance the sustainable management of black soils. Moreover, China is the only country with a national legislation specifically focused on black soils to protect, to conserve, and also to sustainably use black soils in the country. These models are not just beneficial for the crop yield, but also instrumental in combating climate change. In closing, I want to extend my sincere gratitude to the dedicated members of the International Network of Black Soils for your unwavering commitment, invaluable insights, and collaborative spirit towards the conservation, management, and sustainable use of the black soils. I also want to say to all the distinguished audience and speakers, my heartfelt appreciation to your interest and your support and your time today. Together, our collaborative efforts will contribute to sustainable black soil management for food security, better nutrition, and a living planet. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you very fruitful discussions.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Li, and your inspiring speech. Indeed, black soils are so vital, so important, not only for black soil countries, but also for the global food security, because black soil countries export a lot of food to other countries. So thank you very much, Mr. Li. And now, without further ado, I would like to invite the first technical presenter for the first technical presentation, Professor Mr. Ganling Zhang from the Institute of Soil Science, Chinese Academy of Sciences. Professor Zhang, the floor is yours. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuxin. Dear Director, dear participants of this Sustainable Black Soil Management webinar. First of all, I'm very much honored to be invited to talk about our most recent study. Well, so I change a little bit the title of my presentation, it was understanding the formation time of black soil. So in this presentation, I talk both time and key processes. So now it's understanding the formation of black soils, some key processes actually. I'm from Institute of Soil Science, and in the meantime, Nanjing Institute of Geography and Limnology, both Chinese Academy of Sciences. Well, all of us, we know that the essence of black soil is it is molic, we call it dark surface horizon, this which is dark colored, well structured. It has higher base duration, mostly, and a high organic matter. So in different definitions, it can be more than 1%, or according to INBS, it's more than 2% of soil organic matter. But in different national systems, though the definition can be a little slightly different, but the essence are the same. So this is so one thing is important, that the accumulation of humus, the soil organic matter in this fertile soil. Well, besides accumulation of soil organic matter, there are several other key processes affect soil formation and development of black soils, including erosion deposition and the carbonate leaching and the climate migration. And also we have to understand the buildup of the soil is very much determined by the formation of parent materials. So besides this, we should know there are also a very important process, that is bioturbation, or in general, pedoturbation. We see this figure in the low right part, this pocket, which has a slightly different color, which means the surface material is broad in this place. That means in black soil, bioturbation or pedoturbation is very common. This is also a very crucial process for the formation of black soils. Well, globally, the black soils are under threat and is suffering degradation. So major degradation process, including soil erosion and the loss of soil organic matter. Besides soil compaction, water lodging, biodiversity loss, and soil pollution. So these are two major processes of soil organic matter declination also involves the loss of soil organic carbon. So if we want to understand the pressure of soil degradation, especially black soils, we have to know how fast it is formed, because the sustainability of black soil depends on the balance between the rate of soil loss and the rate of soil formation. Of course, we know the soil formation rate is usually much lower than soil formation. So there are various data on the formation of black soils, including, for example, here, I just give several examples. For example, one say is 0.2 or 0.3 centimeter per year, which is for the loss, it's very, very fast, but it takes very long time to form 1 centimeter black soils. But the data varied a lot. Some say 20 to 40 years, some say 100 years, some 120 or 400 years, and some say 300 to 400 years. So these data, they are so complicated and they're so varied. And actually, I have to tell, none of them has a real data or science-based estimation. They are coming from mostly a guess or rough estimate. So we need really a serious study to know how much or how fast this soil is formed. there are serious studies on the formation time of black soils. For example, this study from also from China, they collected many pits in Northeast China. They dated the soil carbon using carbon-14 technology. So the result is this soil started to form at Holocene age. It's about 8. So after Holocene, that means younger than 10,000 years. So mostly they are from 8,000 to 7,000 or 6,000 during this period of time. This, however, this also is inconsistent with studies from other parts of the world, from such as Middle USA, European, Argentina. They also point to this Holocene age of black soil. So this is if this is the case, we have to understand the age of carbon-14. What does this carbon-14 date mean? So, but we have to know the carbon in this soil, actually in all soil, is regenerated after it is formation, because they are complicated mixing process of soil organic matter, including leaching, rooting, turbation, bioturbation by either small animals or either by termite or all kinds of these activities. So recently we present a framework for dating soil using carbon-14 and OSL technology. So because the source of carbon can be different, can be from, and the young carbon, the new carbon can be transported from the surface by roots to deep soils, and also there's the carbon atoms, they are inherited from all sources. So there is this is actually the age of soil carbon is a spectrum. It's not one data. It's a distribution of all kinds of age. And similarly, the small grains of either quartz or feldspar, they also have a distribution of age because they also have different sources. So unless we use very single grain or single carbon technology, we could not solve the distribution problem. This is the case. We have to have some new technologies. So if we want to understand the soil starting age of black soil, we have to put them in these two protocols. One is we need to find a semi-closed system so that the age of this carbonate is fixed. It's not changing with the soil formation. Then second, we can try to identify signals of primary age and perturbation using fine-grained soil dating, such as single-grain OSL dating and carbon-14 dating at a molecular level, which by now, by the way, is now possible. 2 days ago, there was a report on this technology. Well, given this hypothesis, we need to find the right location to start this. Fortunately, we, after extensive survey, we in Northeast China, we investigated many soil profiles. In one profile, we found a piece of wooded charcoal, which is beneath the molecular layer, and we dated this charcoal. It is about 16,000, more than 16,000 years before present. And it is buried below the molecular layer, so we can hypothesize the formation of this black soil is after this time. And we also dated the carbon-14 age. The age can be from soil organic matter in bulk samples, or we separated humic acid. So we found that the humic acid carbon-14 is a little bit older than the bulk soils, which means if we have to use carbon-14 age, we better separate the soil organic matter into different components, and we can use the old part. We need to testify this in more cases. We still need to do that in the future. So this is the first. We defined the upper age limit is about 17,000 years. This is, well, in another place, or actually in several other places, we found the buried molecular layer, black layers, that is, they formed in a different, is in a previous stage, which is buried by the current surface soil because of a deposition, erosion and deposition. And we sampled the buried soils in two depths. One is 215 centimeter, another 270 centimeter. And we dated the carbon-14, which is about 12,000 years ago. And that means in this area, the black soils was formed before that. So that is, by combining the previous slide, we can say in Northeast China, black soils started to form between 16.9 to 12.6 Ka before present. This is, to our knowledge, is the first solid evidence to show the very initial formation time of black soil in this region. Well, we also studied several other soil profiles, and we found that there are discrepancies between carbon-14 and OSL dating. OSL dating is used to date the age of the parent material, so it's not for the organic carbon. We see discrepancies, as you may see in all those profiles. The blue point, which is OSL date, and the green point is organic date. There is always a discrepancy between these two age. Well, and the OSL always older than carbon-14 age, and the OSL age at the bottom of the black layer, the old molecular layer, normally is 13.5 to 14 Ka, which means the deposition of parent material started at this time. So this, by using this data, we have established a kind of framework for the to understand the formation time of black soils in Northeast China. And we compared this kind of study with very few studies from other parts of the world, and they are actually this study is really scale in currently, and this period is in a geologic term is between Boolean and Elrod warm period. It's in this 14.7 to 12.7 Ka before present. So, and we have evidence from quaternary geology of this area. There are many other studies, many geological studies, quaternary geology studies in this area, and it showed that during this time after 20 Ka, the temperature in this region rose gradually, and the vegetation started to form and responded to the warming, and it does last after the deglaciation. So and also there are studies show that after during 18 Ka before present, there was a grassland expansion in this area, according to the botanic history study. So that means climate is favorable for black soil formation prior to the Holocene, and the formation of black soil is much earlier than Holocene time. So we have also studied the parent materials of this area. The area, it basically it is loose. We see the particle size distribution of the quartz, and see that we have in different profiles we have always a peak around 37 micrometer. So this is a typical loess deposition, and it is formed by, of course, by wind transportation. So so this is we show the deposition of the loess is the material basis of black soil, and by calculating the age difference and the depth difference, we can calculate that the black soil in this area had an average rate of about 6 centimeter per 1,000 years, which is well, at least it's a science-based data on the formation rate of this area. Well, as mentioned earlier, the buildup of black soil is a accretionary model. So that means the soil is built up, and meanwhile the organic matter started to form. And because of time limit, I have to go a little bit quick. So there is another study to we focused on the bioturbation process or pedoturbation process, because in black soil we have widespread crotovenous, which is relics of rotten barrel. So there we see these pockets of either black or white materials, which is a mixture of soil materials from another soil layer. So this is a long noticed evidence, as we can trace back to Darwin time. Charles Darwin, he showed that the sketch of bioturbation almost 2 centuries ago. So how can we calculate the rate or the ratio of mixture? We use this single grain luminescence technology, which can be used as a bioturbation tracer. And the technology itself, I do not need to go detail. And we took a typical soil profile in Lishu, where Dr. Zhang is doing his study there. It's this is southern boundary of black soils in China. So we sampled the horizontal soils, and for each soils, we separate 600 grains, either quartz grain or feldspar grains, and then for each horizon, we got almost 300 age date, and which is we can make a distribution of age of these grains. And by using finite mixture model, we can decompose each sample, and by establishing indicate K over P max, to which can show the disturbance structure, disturbance ratio of horizons. And in general, we say the intensity of bioturbation decreases with depth, and the active bioturbation zone is in the surface 80 centimeter, and below that we had really no bioturbation or very little bioturbation. Actually, it has no current bioturbation. We can quantify for each layer above that how much soil material is mixed by bioturbation. This is the very new data, and use very cutting edge technology to show this. And if we give a criteria of 50% of original soil particles as a threshold, we can again see that over the surface, in the surface 80 centimeter, we have really a mixture of different sources of materials, which again means the bioturbation process is so strong. And below that, most of the soil material is from the one source. That means the little bioturbation process occurred in these layers. So to put them together, our study has shown that the formation model of black soils in this region, first after degradation period, with adventure of grass and the plant, the soil organic carbon start to accumulate. But meantime, the dust accumulation continues, and the soil is building has built up, and the age of the carbon keeps order at the bottom, but with the regeneration process, it is at value is always young than the dust deposition age. So that is all the data I just shown say this conclusion. So this is to conclude, the onset time of black soil in North China is between this period, most probably during this BA period. This is much earlier than previously reported. And the formation rate is about 6 centimeter for 1,000 years. And the modern bioturbation can reach up to 80 centimeter, and its intensity decreases exponentially with the depth. So this is so the bioturbation intensifies since that period, and which can be viewed as a starting point for the formation of black soils. So we have several publications to support this presentation in the Innovation Geoscience Science Bulletin, and one submitted to a very previous, prominent journal, and on the OSL dating. And so my colleagues, Dr. Long, Dr. Yang, and others, they also joined this study. And for this, I conclude my talk, and I thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Zhang. Thank you very much for your informative presentation. You explained to us how to formulate black soils, and we know from your presentation, I also improved my knowledge about black soils. For example, to formulate black soil 6 centimeter will cost 1,000 years. So it's so difficult to have black soils, and for our human being, we are so easy to degrade black soil. So we must protect black soils, and we learn a lot from your presentation. And a lot of participants, audience asked about the sharing of presentation. So we will share, upload the presentations of today's webinar on our website. So you can go to our website to review the presentation, because I think we need some time to digest the knowledge from Professor Zhang. Thank you very much, Professor Zhang. And without further ado, now I would like to invite the second technical presentation from Professor Ren Tusheng from China Agricultural University. Professor Ren, the floor is yours, please. Thank you very much.
Hello, Dr. Tong. Can you see my screen?
Yes, very clear. Thank you. Please.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, friends and colleagues. It's really a pleasure to be here to share some of my views on the black soil in China this time. I have been working in black soil regions for the last 16 years. So today I want to show what I have learned there and about the technology of no-till farming for sustainable agriculture in this region. I will briefly introduce the status and drivers of black soil degradation, and then present some of the results for our long-term no-till farming studies. And finally, show the responses of farmers and policymakers to the no-till farming system. First, let us have a look about the problems with the black soil and how the crisis occurred. As has been introduced by the chair, the black soil region of Northeast China is one of the most important cornerstones for China's food security. In 2018, it produced more than a quarter of China's national grain. That includes about 40% of corn, more than 45% of soybean, and 18% of rice. However, over the past 50 years, the black soil has been threatened by the intensive farming systems. Currently, the top black soil layer is being lost and reach about 2 millimeters a year. And about 50% of the soil organic matter has been lost. And some soil compaction is now becoming a key constraint for crop production in this region. So this is a description of the current intensive farming system. As you can see here that crop residue is brought or taken off from the field, leaving a bare soil surface in the whole year. And also the soil are tilled several times, which leaves a loose surface layer. And during tillage times, the soil aggregates was destroyed, and the soil organic matter was decomposed. So that's really lead to degradation. At the same time, each year, after crop harvest, a lot of the soil nutrients have been taken away from the soil. Another thing is that the traditional practice applies a lot of manures in the soil. But today, farmers have replaced the manure with chemical fertilizer. So that makes another difference. So as a result, the severe soil water erosion occurs in the summer. As you can see here, this was a slide recorded by my friend in Heilongjiang province. You can see that they have estimated that in the sloping areas, black soil had loss as high as 12 to 35 tons per hectare a year. And also, because of the bare and loose topsoil, dust storms strike the region several times in the spring. On average, the soil loss due to wind erosion is around 7 to 8 tons per hectare per year. So it is quite often that wind also hurts or even kills the young plants in spring and early summer periods, as you can see here. Well, a lot of plants have been killed here. So 16 years, next I want to show you that no-till farming is very effective in curbing the soil degradation and enhance agricultural sustainability in this region. 16 years ago, we started to introduce no-till farming in Northeast China. So compared to the traditional farming system, the new system makes some changes in the farming practice. That include crop rotation, year-round surface cover with crop residue, and during seeding, and finally the integrated pest control. So in this system, the soil disturbance is reduced from 7 to 8 times to 3 times, and the soil is protected with crop residue year-round, and a large amount of organic materials is returned to the soil. So this is our no-till farming system. In the next few slides, I will show how effective the no-till farming system in curbing the soil degradation in black soil region of Northeast China. First, let's have a look at the reduction of the soil water erosion. This is a long-term study from my friend from the Chinese Academy of Sciences. They showed that if you have the no-till farming system applied in the field, surface runoff can be reduced by 90%, and soil loss is almost eliminated, due to the crop recovery and less disturbance. At the same time, the soil wind erosion is reduced significantly. Here, I want to show you some of the radios we recorded in the field. So this video was come from my students. They recorded it 2 years ago. You can see that on the same field conditions, wind erosion in no-till plots was reduced significantly because of residual cover and less soil disturbance, and also it has a higher water content. So the surface cover, if you have over 30% of surface cover, so the wind erosion can be reduced very effectively. This is my field plot. This has been done over 15 years. You can see that after 10 years, okay, the no-till plot, the soil high surface is about 5 to 10 centimeters higher than the plotted plots, because the wind had blown the soil to the no-till plots, and the soil is deposited there. Spring drought is often delays crop planting in much of the black soil region of China. So on the no-till systems, this is not a problem anymore, because you can see here that the no-till plot always have a higher water content, and it's so it's produced very favorable soil water conditions for planting. So there's no time to delay. But if you have a rotary tillage or rotational tillage, they always it's a drought delayed the planting of corn. So in Northern China, also many people have been concerned about no-till farming, because they are thinking that no-till farming will reduce soil water infiltration and soil water storage. Here we, after 20 years of no-till farming, we can see that the no-till farming did not reduce the soil water infiltration, but actually it increased water infiltration. This is a study done by a student in the field. You can see the video here. This is the infiltration study. We have the same amount of rainfall to the 3 fields. The first one is no-till without crop residue. This is no-till plots, and this is the plot plots. You can see the accumulation of the water on soil surface, the different quantity apparently. So after about 60 minutes, the surface water on the tilled plots is about 5 millimeters high, but for no-till plots, it's only 0.7 centimeter. So the no-till farming enhances soil water infiltration, because the infiltration rate is about 7 times higher than the plotted plots. Also, we did some micro-city studies about the soil structure. It showed that NT plots have many biology pores. You can see that here, NT plots, there's a lot of biology pores. And also after compaction, the pores can still stand there, so they can resist the compaction. But for the plot soil, there's not many of biopores and the micropores. So after compaction, a lot of pores has disappeared. So it's really that no-till did not lead to poor soil structure, but it's improved soil structure. So another thing that if no-till have increased soil fertility, here I show you some results of soil getting carbon and also nitrate and ammonia. you can see that it's black line, okay? The no-till plots always have a higher soil getting carbon in the soil profile, and the nitrate is quite higher in the surface layer. And the ammonia is the most apparent change, throughout the soil profile. It's always have a higher content of ammonia. So this slide shows the picture from my colleagues from the Chinese Academy of Sciences. It shows that core root distribution in the soil profile. Okay, after 15 years of no-till, the crop root system is becoming deeper and also larger compared with the plot tillage system. So that means that no-till farming really enhances the root development in the soil profile. So this slide shows the crop yield in my long-term studies. We studied this experiment in 2011, and over the last 12 years, you can see that in the generally no-till did not reduce the crop yield significantly. In the early few years, like 4 years or 5 years, there's some unstable yield, sometimes higher, sometimes lower. But after about 5 years, no-till always have compatible or even higher crop yield than the conventional tillage system. So in 2 years, the crop yield is significantly higher than the other systems. The other thing that about the economic profit, so in terms of economics, because of the less input here we have, okay, this is input in blue, and this is income, because you can see that no-till have a higher income and less input, so the net profit is higher. Okay, we did some calculation in our field. Okay, so the input is less than 3,800 yuan per hectare, and the income is higher, 3,200 yuan higher, and so the net income or gross profit is about 7,000 yuan per hectare. That's about $1,000 per hectare. So it's really profitable for the farmers. And also, the no-till farming system increased the resilience of the crop system. In 2022, we have a drought in the spring and 2 times of the rains in the summer and fall. On this extreme weather conditions, we got a very good crop yield in no-till systems. The crop yield is 70% higher than the plot tillage systems. Actually, you can see from this picture here, this is our no-till plots. This is the plot tillage plots. The crop, you can see the bottom cover, the color, and also the height of crop of no-till plots is higher than the plot tillage plots. And also you can see the yellow leaves on the plot tillage plots. So there's big difference here. Finally, I want to show you that I want to briefly introduce our outreach work on no-till farming in Northeast China. Over the years, we have established the black soil conservation and management network in Northeast China. Currently, we have more than 100 cooperative farmers across the region. That means the farm land is more than 100 hectares, in this group. So we transfer the no-till farming technology to the farmers by means of farm training and field demonstration and technical service. So this really enhances the extension of no-till farming system in this region. I don't have exact area about how much no-till farming have been in this area, but I know that we have sold more than 40,000 sets of no-till seeders in this region. If we take 50 hectares per set, and I think at minimum we have about 2 million hectares of no-till farmland in the Northeast China has been done. In recent years, strip tillage, which has about 50% of land is rotary tilled here, like this one, and the remaining 50 is undisturbed and covered with crop village, has been widely accepted by farmers in the north part of North China, because in that area, the soil temperature is a little bit low in the spring times. So the farmers use this technology to increase soil temperature, and so they can keep a very good crop yield. Our work has been also draw the attention of the government at different levels. In 2020, our President Xi visited our field site in Jilin province. He described the black soil as the giant pendant of arable land. And he said that it should be well protected by using conservation farming systems. At the same time, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs and the Ministry of Finance introduced the Conservation Utility Action Plan for the black soil regions in North China, which boosted the soil conservation in the region very quickly in the last few years. So in conclusion, we believe that the no-till farming system is a viable system for sustainable agriculture in North China because it effectively controls the water and wind erosion, improves soil fertility, and maintaining or increase crop yield and profit, and also enhances the ecosystem resilience. Thank you for your attention. Okay, I would like to answer your questions.
Thank you, Professor Ren. Thank you very much for your presentation about the no-till farming system in Northeast China. And your presentation introduced that the yield is very high there. It's reached 10 to 15 ton per hectare. And the no-till farming system can increase soil carbon, soil fertility, and at the same time, very important, these practices can also increase the benefit of farmers. That's always very important. When we want to really recommend some good practices to be used in the field, we must to consider the benefit of farmers. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation. And without further ado, now I would like to invite the third technical presentation from Professor Zhongjun Jia from the Northeast Institute of Geography and Agroecology, Chinese Academy of Sciences. Professor Jia, the floor is yours, please. Professor Jia, we can see your script. So, dear participants, we will answer all your questions after the finish of the technical presentations. We will select questions from the Q&A in the Zoom, then try to answer as many as possible of your questions during the discussion session of this webinar. Thank you very much. Please put your question in the Q&A bottom and of Zoom, and specifying which panelist you want to address the question to. Professor Jia, we still see the script format of the presentation.贾老师，我们还是能看到您的那个方式的。您在上面那个显示设置中，上面有个显示设置，你给它调一下就出来了。您全屏之后，在上面有个显示设置。 贾老师，上面有个显示设置，左上角有个显示设置，你点一下显示设置那个栏，右面，右上角有个对。Okay, perfect. Please, Professor Jia. 贾老师，我们听不见您说话。
Okay.
Professor Jia, we cannot hear you. No, we cannot hear you. Hello? Professor Jia? We cannot hear you. 贾老师，我们听不见您说话。贾老师，你好，我们听不见您说话。Hello, Professor Jia. We cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. Can you? I think there is some connection issues of Professor Jia. We cannot hear you. Sorry, we cannot know what happened of Professor Jia. Professor Jia, sorry, we cannot hear you. And so can you stop sharing the screen? So Professor Chen Xueli, Professor Chen, so I think we can jump to Professor Chen, and we gave some time for Professor Jia to fix the international internet problem. So Professor Chen Xueli is come from Heilongjiang Academy of Agricultural Sciences, and thank you very much. The floor is yours. Please give out the introduction and information about the black soil management through manure straw returning in Northeast China. Please, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Yixin. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everybody. This is Xueli Chen from Heilongjiang Academy of Agricultural Science. It's my honor to have this opportunity to share our work with all of you. The title of my report is Manure and Straw Returning Benefit for Stability of Soil Microbiome Ecosystem. And I will give a report according to these three parts as follows. As we know, soil makes an important contribution for our life, including food production, air cleaning, pollution filter, and so on. According to the statistic that soil are the source of 95% of our food, while black soil is one important kind of soil types. It represents only 5.6% of global land area, while 31% of global black soil are cultivated. Great portions remain with their natural land cover of forests and grassland. Then the worst soil are under threat. Erosion, soil organic carbon loss, soil acidification, and nutrients imbalance are four main soil problems. Also for black soil. According to the report, there are 2 to 3 millimeter soil loss in plough layer each year, and the depth of plough layer decline from 50 to 60 centimeter before reclamation to 30 centimeter till now in China. Soil pH decreased 1.28 to 1.51 after continuous input of chemical fertilizer for 19 to 24 years. About soil organic matter, organic carbon content, there was a paper published on PNAS in 2017, which reported the soil organic carbon content in all over China in past 30 years. The results showed that moldy soil was the only area of soil organic matter content decreased in China. The stock of soil organic matter in this area decreased 19%. The main reason was excessive chemical fertilizer input continuously and intensive planting. Soil microbiome as a sensitive indicator of soil quality changing, which got more and more attention for the worldwide experts. There were 2 papers published on Science in 2004 and 2008, emphasized that biodiversity determined the stability of ecosystem, and the microbiome in algae that drive Earth's biogel chemical cycles. And in 2014, there was a paper published on PNAS which further emphasized soil biodiversity and soil community composition determined ecosystem multifunctionality. With the development of agriculture, long-term chemical fertilizer input result in decreasing of diversity of soil microbial community, changing of the composition of bacterial community. Studies shows that organic material application benefit to the stability of soil microbial community. Actually, black soil area are not only the food production basis, but also it is the main husbandry production areas. There are abundant organic materials, for example, straw, manure. Returning the straw and manure to the arable land are also benefit to reduce environment pollution and greenhouse gas emission. Though this report today, I want to answer 2 questions based on the work of our team. In past several years, and the reference which published based on our long-term fertilization experiment in black soil. The first question is how organic materials affect the diversity of soil microbiome community in black soil. And the second question is how organic materials affect the ecological functions of soil microbiome community in black soil. The first part, I will give an introduction about the impact of organic fertilizer on soil microbiome community. On side of impact of organic fertilization on diversity and composition of soil microbiome community, we found that organic manure application increased the abundance and diversity of soil bacterial community. Manure application benefit for stability of bacterial community. The relative abundance of phylum increased by manure application. The results confirmed by Dr. Hu and Dr. Shen in 2008 and 2010, they found the long-term inputs of manure contributed to increase in soil nutrient level and soil microbiome biomass carbon in compared to no fertilization, and also have had a positive effect on trophic taxi. With respect to increasing root exudates and root biomass due to crop growth, readily metabiotic carbon in manure. Higher diversity index of bacterial community were found in manure and chemical fertilizer combined with manure. On fungi community, we found organic fertilizer significantly increased the diversity and abundance of fungi community. High total carbon content lead to the total carbon content lead to high fungi biomass and gene abundance. The key species was Pachydium. The fungi network in manure treatment showed more complex. About the relationship of organic fertilization with soil phosphorus. Soil organic matter and pH have important effects on the change in soil ozone phosphorus by 1 kilometer per hectare of phosphorus balance. About the relationship of organic fertilization with soil carbon, showed that long-term manure application improved the carbon sequestration, not only in the topsoil, but also in the deep layers. The structure of the HA in black soil tends to be alphatic, simpler, and younger after the application of manure. On functions of function genes diversity, we analyzed by gel shape. The results showed that the diversity of functional genes decreased by organic manure application. The composition of functional group in manure and chemical fertilizer combined with manure are similar. About the ecosystem functions, we found fertilizer significantly increased the capability of carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus transformation. Organic fertilization increased the relative abundance of function genes involved in the cellulose, carbon degradation stage, and carbon fixation, and manure application increased the cost of soil denitrification. The results also were coincided with the study of Dr. Hu in 2020. She found the manure and chemical fertilizer combined with manure significantly increased the abundance of and the diversity of nurse ice type denitrifiers compared with no fertilization. And organic fertilization enriched the relative of the protection and plant masses that carried carbon and nitrogen cycle genes, while inhibited the growth of oligotrophic groups such as the microbi. Manure fertilization, particularly the combined with chemical and organic fertilizer, significantly enhanced the abundance of ice, which are involved in carbon fixation. The substantial enhancement in soil phosphorus contents induced by manure addition predominantly affected the carbon and nitrogen carbon cycling profiles, abundance of function genes, and microbi types. The second part about the impact of crop straw returning on soil microbi community. About the diversity and the composition of soil microbi community affected by straw returning showed that arable soil with low organic carbon content have a potential to get a higher and more active microbi diversity with amendments. And the majority of differently expressed transcripts produced at straw addition belongs to bacteria. And the long-term maize straw cover could improve soil microbi carbon metabolic functions by reducing microbi metabolic demands for readily available carbon source and increasing microbi carbon metabolic diversities. About the ecosystem functions of soil microbi affected by straw returning showed that incorporation of maize crop residue maintains soybean yield through the stimulation of nitrogen fixation rather than residue-derived nitrogen in molly soil. And the straw addition triggered the upregulation of a set of enzyme families catalyzing the organic matter degradation. Increasing the input of carbon source such as straw and manure together with appropriate tillage could substantially improve soil organic carbon sequestration in black soil region for northeast China. Then these findings are focused on diversity of soil bacterial community, carbon metabolic, and the nitrogen fixation of straw returning separate. Our team analyzes the soil microbi community composition and function genes based on the continuous straw returning for 41 years in Heihe This experiment established in 2012. I don't think this picture is wrong, I think. The rotation system is soybean and maize. The soil type is black soil. Compared with chemical fertilizer, the straw addition didn't significantly change the composition and the diversity. No, here. Didn't change the composition and the diversity of bacteria. And the results coincided with Yang, published in 2020. By identifying an gene node with the highest degree of network as a key node, it was found that the key node of straw application alone treatment is mainly due to the chief gene related to cellulose decomposition, and the two genes with highest degree of positive correlation belongs to the actin bacteria and the acid bacteria. They are involved in primary decomposition of plant materials in soil and have the ability to degrade complex organic compounds in soil. And the chemical fertilization is the microgene associated with the starch metabolism and glycol degradation. Is a member of phylum acid bacterium. Chemical fertilizer combined with straw is the CBBL gene related to carbon sequestration. This gene belongs to Proteobacterium. It's the nitrified bacterium produce acidic substance to improve the alkaline soil. This compared to the application of chemical fertilizer, the addition of straw increased the relative genes abundance of nitrate redox tax and gloom system. This I just report the results is we just got from the experiment, so it's unpublished data. Overall, I gave a summary. Organic fertilization increase the diversity of bacterial community. Then straw returning almost no effect on diversity of the bacterial community. Organic fertilization inhibited the growth of oligotrophic groups. Then straw promotes the compitrophic groups. Organic fertilization enhances the metabolic of carbon cycle. Then straw returning enhances the nitrogen fixation. Manure application decreases the cost of soil denitrification. Okay, that's all my report. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Chen, and thank you for your presentation regarding to the organic farming and the manure application for the black soils. And indeed, manure application, the organic farming system can also improve black soils and can also protect black soils. At the same time, ensure the food security, ensure the yield. Thank you very much, Professor Chen. Now I would like to invite Professor Jia to make his presentation. And Professor Jia is come from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, from the Northeast Institute of Geography and Agroecology. Professor Jia, the floor is yours.
Okay, Yuxin,
Okay,
can
thank
you
you.
hear me?
Yeah. Loud and clear. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm so very sorry. Actually, we indeed, Yuxin and I indeed had a pre-test for the presentation. I'm sorry, something was going wrong at my side. So I would like to apologize for this inconvenience to all the audience. So I would like to start my talk by first of all, thank you, Yuxin, for this great opportunity to discuss this with colleagues. Actually, I was fascinated by this topic, that is sustainable black soil management, a case study from China. So I mean, it's a case study, and because I do wish to share a case study with our colleagues. So the title of my talk is The Query for High Fertility of Black Soils and Underground Challenges in China. So the outlines of my talk includes three parts. The first, the high fertility in black soil is originated, and the mysterious turnover of soil organic nitrogen, and the final part is the ground challenge and opportunity. So and we all know that black soil have extraordinarily high organic nitrogen in black soil. I would like to see this is the origin of the high fertility. So you can see the black soil in China are mostly, maybe are completely located in northeastern China, and which is a cold temperate region. As you can see, the black soil in northeastern China has the organic nitrogen, which is 2 times higher than the loamy soil in the North China, which is close to Beijing, and 4 times higher than the red soil in southern China, southern part of the China. And we know that carbon and the nitrogen are the most essential block for life, and and ammonium, and historically speaking, ammonium is the key nitrogen source for plant, and it must be obtained from mineralization of soil organic nitrogen in the form of the ammonium. And while in the meantime, the photosynthesis carbon of the serves as a key source of the plant biomass carbon from the, we know in the atmosphere, CO2, which is largely about the 400 ppm in the atmosphere. So I would like to say the carbon source for plant growth is almost endless in the air, but we know the nitrogen in the air is not reactive nitrogen. It cannot be directly used by plant. So soil organic nitrogen is very important. So how we know the black soil from Russia actually is widely accepted as the founding father of the soil science, like the dog child. And the black soil in Russia, we know, contains plenty of the calcium, where it does not hold true in China. You can see the some black soil in China has no calcium in this region. This black soil in the red color, it has no calcium or very little calcium. And the black soil with calcium is colored with a dark brown. So when there is some kind of difference, it is from the precipitation. You can see in this region, there is a high precipitation. So the calcium is leached from the black soil surface. So the question is why the soil organic nitrogen is high in the black soil and how it is generated. You can see in this figure, this is the map of the China. This is northeast China, where most black soil are located. This is the North China in Beijing. This is southern China. This is the brown soil. This is red soil. This is black soil. Largely speaking, in China. So this y-axis is the mean annual temperature. This left side, the red side is the mean annual precipitation. So we can see clearly. So in northeastern China, most of the precipitation and the precipitation here, and the hottest temperature co-occurring in summer from the June to the August. And the rest of the year, the temperature is almost, below the 0 Celsius degree. But in southern China, the situation is completely different. We can see the temperature is way higher than the 10 Celsius degree. And over the year, there are lots of the precipitation. So the climate drives the formation of the black soil. And then the loose soil is often, as the Professor Ning Zhang mentioned, loose soil is often considered as the parent materials of black soil. And then in the summer, the plant grows rapidly and strong soil mineralization is going on because of the high microbial activity and high temperature. But then in fall, the plant litter and the residue started to be decomposed by organisms, and free living nitrogen fixers start to work because plant biomass usually lacks nitrogen. And this is the key source of the soil organic nitrogen origin from the black soil. And in the winter, because the soil is frozen and microorganisms come into the dormants for rest. And in spring, the repeated cycles of the freezing and the thawing cycles start to work, and the plant residues cannot be decomposed completely. Therefore, the soil humic substance with high nitrogen is formed, and the color is getting dark because of the incomplete decomposition and the formation of the the humic substance, like humin, as the Professor Zhang mentioned before. And in summary, the high organic nitrogen depends on the 2 points. 1 point is in the summer, there are larger amount of the plant biomass in the soil. And the number 2, this larger amount of the biomass, plant biomass, cannot be completely decomposed under the cold climate, cold temperate climate in northeastern China. I also would like to show you specifically how black soil is formed, why soil nitrogen is high. You can see in this figure, this is the northeastern China. This is the southern part of China. So 1 year has 365 days. So you can see almost half of the year is the temperature in northeastern China is below the 0 degree. So the organism is almost resting over there. It has nothing to do but rest. And also the other point you can see, organic nitrogen is much higher in northeastern China than the southern China and the North China. And organic nitrogen is also very high, as I said before. But it's interesting, I would like to have your attention. The carbon to nitrogen ratio is also very high in northeastern China. It means it has 2 implications. One implication, the black soil has very high organic carbon. Therefore, even though nitrogen content is high, but the ratio is still low. So, and then as we know, the plant biomass has a carbon to nitrogen ratio normally more than 40, and the organism has a carbon to nitrogen ratio below 30. So, and the black soil has a carbon to nitrogen ratio around the 12. So, the implication is that most soil organic nitrogen is likely from the dead microorganism in the soil, but not from the plant residue. So in this part, I would like to say how we use stable isotope probing to probing the life and the death of the microorganism in soil, and then we can link the taxonomic identity of the target microorganism with its functional activity. It's very simple. We just incubate the black soil with the labeled substrate, that is 13 CO2, and the microorganism in the soil will assimilate the organism in the soil that assimilate labeled substrate would be get labeled. I mean, the DNA would be getting labeled. And then we are going to do the ultracentrifugation. We can resolve the 13C DNA from 12 DNA of the unlabeled microorganism that do not utilize the labeled substrate. So it's very clear we have the two phases. The first phase is we incubate the soil with 13 CO2. You can see we have the very strong for fall soil. We have all soil. Compared to the day 0, we have the plenty of the nitrate production. It implies strong nitrification activity. Correspondingly, you can see there is a strong net production of 13C labeled soil organic carbon in this black soil. So there's the first soil that receives the first CK soil that received no fertilizer, and NPK means the soil that received the chemical fertilizer for the last 30 years. And this NPK-M soil represent the black soil that received the chemical fertilizer and manure. All of the soil has accumulated a larger amount of the soil organic carbon. This carbon is actually from the CO2 fixing ammonia oxidizer. This is our first step. Our second step is because we know there is plenty of the newly input soil organic carbon. This carbon is from the newly generated CO2 fixing ammonia oxidizer. And then we incubate this the newly generated ammonia oxidizer, and you can see that if the microorganism is going to die, the organism will be decomposed to the 13C CO2. You can see these three soil, all of these three soil has released a fraction of the 13C CO2 from the black soil. It indicates this our result. It indicates there is a 5% of the newly generated microorganism has died, and it was completely decomposed to respond to the 13C CO2 for the CK soil. But for the NPK soil, it's relatively fertile. There is only 1.8, 1.9% of the newly produced ammonia oxidizer microorganism is decomposed to 13 CO2. It means it dead. It is dead. And for the soil with NPK manure soil, it's up to 3.18% of the newly generated fresh ammonia oxidizer has been aging to death. So this is the other study I would like to show you is a case study why the black soil is very important. It works like the slow releasing fertilizer. You can see this is black soil. This is the loamy soil, which is in North China, in close to Beijing. This is red soil in the southern China. So we added the 300 ppm urea ammonium into this soil. So the CK means there is no addition of the ammonium. The 300 nitrogen 300 means 300 ppm ammonium. You can see for this black soil, the nitrate production is slowly going up. But for the loamy soil in North China, close to Beijing, the nitrate production immediately go to the peak for 1 week, 7 days, and then it stays at the plateau. And for the red soil, so there's almost no ammonium transformation. So it means the ammonium in the black soil can be slowly released. I mean, either it is directly utilized by plant or it is slowly transformed to the nitrate, then assimilated by the plant. So but why it is important? Because if its ammonium is quickly transformed to the nitrate, as we know the nitrate is very much mobilized, it can be leached into the groundwater, leading to the pollution. And then this also, you can see the black soil are born to be carbon neutral and climate friendly. And you can see this is black soil. This is loamy soil close to Beijing. This is red soil in southern China. You can see this y-axis, this is 15, this is 10, this is 5. So the black soil, if we add the fertilizer, it can also fix a large amount of the CO2, and then soil organic carbon is increasing rapidly. But for loamy soil, it also increased, but not that high. And we also know the fertilization will lead to the N2O emission. So we do the black soil, loamy soil, and red soil. You can see, even though we applied a larger amount of the fertilizer, 300 ppm, so still the net emission of greenhouse gas is still negative. But for the loamy soil, clay soil in the region close to Beijing, it's the net emission of the greenhouse gas is extraordinarily high. You can see this is 2000. This is just 5. So you see the black soil, it's born to be carbon neutral. It's really surprising. I was also very much surprised by this result. So I would like to go to my second part, the mysterious turnover. So we incubated 2 paddy soil, and one soil received no fertilization in last 30 years. The other soil that received chemical fertilizer for the past 30 years, and then we incubated these 2 soil with the nitrogen labeled ammonium, and then for the 7 weeks. So you can see, so because the ammonium is 100 ppm, 100 ppm ammonium is labeled, then we see plenty of the production of the nitrate, but we can see only there's a 100 ppm, almost 100 ppm and 15 ppm. But for the labeled nitrate, there's only 2 or 3 ppm labeled nitrate. And then the ammonium concentration is also relatively high. So I would like to go to here. You can see the majority of the added ammonium labeled has been absorbed into the soil organic nitrogen. You can see this is one soil, CK soil, NPK soil. After 35 days incubation, the nitrogen atom excess is extraordinarily high because the background is only 0.336, but now it's almost 2, 4, and almost 5% of the nitrogen atom excess. So we feel I would like to show you this. I would like to show you this. Our conclusion is the remarkable anabolism of the exogenous nitrogen can promote nitrogen mineralization and nitrification process in the paddy soil, in black paddy soil. So the key point is I would like to show you, if we add the chemical fertilizer like the urea into the soil, so the nitrification is not stimulated. The majority of ammonium actually is assimilated by microorganisms, and the biomass synthesis is going on. Therefore, the soil organic nitrogen is going up, and then the microbial cell is dead. After dead, so the cell lysis is happening, and then lots of the soil, after the soil mineralization, the inorganic nitrogen was produced, and then this inorganic nitrogen was again assimilated by the plant. I think this is very interesting. Unfortunately, our data is still not published yet. We hopefully in 2024, we hope it will get published. And then in the final part, I would like to share with colleagues about the current challenge and the opportunities. So as you know, the food security is the #1 issue in China because we have only 7% of cropland across the world, but we have to feed the 22% of the population in the world. And then you can see in northeastern China, it's very important because more than 60%, 660% soybean was produced in northeastern China. And in 2020, the China imported soybean up to $40 billion. It ranks as the sixth largest single product imported overseas. So you can see this soybean produced by China in the last 70 years. So the production is slightly increasing, but not that much. But this is soybean imported by the China. You can see it significantly increased. I think every year probably we largely imported about 100 million tons of the soybeans. And then also the black soil area in China, it produced 20%, 25% of the growing yield across China, and almost 1/3 of commodity grain of China. And the black soil, as I mentioned, the black soil is also but the problem is we have the intensification of chemical fertilizer input has facilitated the soil degradation. And you can see in the soil in past 20 years, 40 years, the surplus, the imbalance of the nutrient input, the surplus of the nitrogen and the phosphate and the deficient of the potassium is significantly high in the black soil. And then the priority for the future study, we feel there are 3 points. The #1 point is how to put the soil health in the context of the pathogenesis. Because the concept of the black soil formation is the founding father of the soil science, as we said, but still how to date the soil health and how to decipher the role of inherent soil properties. I think it's a big problem because, and for example, we have no good index to probing or to measure the soil health. We feel the black soil is a good indicator, like as I mentioned before, how nitrogen, organic nitrogen is generated and released and then facilitate the plant growth. And then the soil health should be designed to counteract the land degradation, as the Professor Tushen Ren mentioned. You can see that the black soil layer is getting thinner, and the soil organic matter is getting less and less, and the structure is getting harder and harder. So this is a significant problem, which is particularly important in northeastern China because it produces 25% of the grain across China. So there are lots of the input of the anthropogenic interaction. So the final slide I would like to share with you about my interest. So is there a code-loving straw decomposition? I would like to show you this is northeastern China where the black soil are located. So you can see the mean annual temperature is about -7 to 3 degrees. So this is the tropical area in the Hainan province. The mean annual temperature is about 25 degrees. So we wonder whether there is, because as we discussed before, we feel the plant biomass decomposition is probably the key source of the accumulation of soil organic nitrogen production. So we wonder whether in this low temperature area, there is a specific cold loving straw decomposer. So we include the cold soil and the hot soil with the 10 Celsius degree, 35 Celsius degree, and then at the first week, second week, and 12 weeks, almost 12 weeks, and then we enriched the straw decomposition microorganism. You can see this is very interesting. So this is a cold soil from northeast black soil. This is cold soil from the northeastern China. This is the hot soil from the Hainan province tropical area. So you can see if we include these two soil at low temperature, the black soil has a much higher straw decomposition rate than the hot soil. But if we include the hot soil at the 35 degree and also the black soil in the 35 degree, generally speaking, the tropical soil has higher straw decomposition rate than the black soil. So, but for the trend, the pattern is very much confusing for if there is alteration of the temperature, the low temperature and high temperature incubation. So my final PPT I would like to share with you in this July, we are going to organize the 4th International Conference on the black soil conservation and utilization. So in this July, in the northeastern China, this conference would be sponsored by the Chinese Academy of Science and the China Black Soil Initiative. This China Black Soil Initiative, CBSI, is called the CBSI. We have the total fund of the 120 million US dollars from 2021 to 2026. So we invest a lot of money. We probably as far as I think many of my colleagues like the Professor Gan Linzhang and Tu Shen also joined us for this initiative. We think we have made some very impressive achievement in the past years. Thank you very much, Yuxin. This is all my talk. I'm very happy to share with my work with colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Jia, and your excellent presentation introduced the nitrogen carbon dynamic on black soils, and you mentioned and I think it's very good concepts like the black soils seems like a slow release fertilizers. They can release soil nutrients slowly and meet more demand of plant request. So that is very good explanation. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation. And we also see there is big work in China to protect black soils, and you have big project. We are very happy that your institute and the Chinese government and also the Academy of Soil Science of Academy working on this topic. Thank you very much. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank all presenters for their excellent contributions. And so now we can move on to the discussion part of our webinar. And we will select questions and from the audience, and then try to answer as many questions as possible. So I see there are many questions, and so I think this is a very hot topic, and our audience are very actively exchange with us. We are very happy. So now I would like to start from Professor Gan Linzhang. Some question to you. I think there is a question about in what way could climate change impact the sustainability of black soils, and adaptation strategies are needed, how the climate change impact black soils and their potential consequences. So Professor Ganlin Zhang, because the formulation of black soils you explained, so is there some climate change in these recent years can also impact black soils, please?
Yes, this is a very good question, and it's a very big question. Well, first of all, I say the formation of black soil is dependent on climate. But during the glacial time and deglacial time, when temperature rise, only when temperature rise, it is possible for the formation of organic matter. But now we are concerning more about the climate change nowadays. Well, I think at least in several ways that climate change can affect the use of soils, and in general, of course, also including black soils. First of all, we know under climate change scenarios, there will be more extreme weather condition, so including heavy rainfall and long-term drought, and extreme in temperature. So all those the possible outcome of climate change. So this will have a very fundamental impact on black soils. We know black soil is vulnerable to soil erosion. So when we have extreme climate, when we have a heavy rainfall, then the soil is subject to be lost very quickly. And of course, when we talk about this temperature rise, we know with the shifting of climate zone to north, soils in temperate and even cold regions, they are subject to quick soil organic matter decomposition, and this will lead to rapid loss of soil organic matter. And of course, there will be a strong, if we talk about strong evapotranspiration and higher temperature, the supply of soil water could be also a problem. So personally, I do not have a concrete study on this, but to my understanding, the future climate change will have negative impact on the use of black soils, on the sustainable use of black soils. But we have to say, temperature itself is a part of agricultural resources. I mean, heat is also important. So when we have better temperature condition, we may have earlier germination possibility. So the impact is not one side, can be complicated. So that's my very general answer to this question.
Thank you very much, Professor Zhang. And I think another question addressed to you is about, is there a difference between black soils and the vertical soil?
Oh, sure, they are much different. They are much different. Well, black soil is the color is basically determined by the higher accumulation of soil organic matter, and it's well structured, and it is the parent material is more or less can be different, but more or less more homogeneous, and so the texture is loamy to loamy clay or clay loamy. It's more loamy. It's more more silt. It's because of it is perimaterials, and it has low to medium calcium carbonate, and this is more or less the basic characteristics. But in terms of vertisols, we know the vertisols is higher in clay, and its clay mineral is so-called 2-to-1 silicate, aluminum silicate, and it is due to this strong water absorption and capability, it can be shrinking and swelling. So it's a problematic soil, and though vertisoil is black, but its organic matter is not high. That is because of the very special chemical features of these organic and inorganic complex, because there is a very special mechanism behind this black. And other way, black soils, vertisoils can have a very difficult water management problem. It has a very narrow suitable water content. I mean, in terms of tillage, if you have a higher water content, then it can be very clay, and the tillage is very difficult. And again, when it is lowered in soil moisture, again it becomes very hard, and then it's also not easy for tillage. So these are quite different soils.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Zhang, for your answers about the questions. So thank you. Thanks a lot. Now I would like to
I
move.
Also, yeah. We thank you for this quite nice opportunity, and well, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Zhang. So now I would like to move to Professor Ren Tusheng. There are many questions about no-till tillage and the conservation agriculture of black soils. So I think the audience curious about the traditional Chinese agriculture practices, because you compare the traditional and the no-till. So what are traditional practices in China, in black soil region?
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, I have been working on the questions in the reply messages, several times. Actually, the traditional system in Northeast China is this, okay? It's really complicated. So the farmers, after the harvest, they usually till the soil, plow the soil first, and then in the springtime, in the second year of spring, they have to do another tillage, like a rotary tillage. And in some areas, they have to make a ridge, and then do soil compaction, and then planting on that ridge. So it takes about 5 or 6 times of tillage operation before the planting time. So it's really tillage and make ridges and planting. That's the 3 major operations. And in recent years, they because of they use reduced tillage systems like rotary tillage, okay, and though they have added another operation like subsoiling, sometimes in the after harvest, and most of them do subsoiling at the seedling stages. So the traditional system is really, but I think besides tillage, the farmers always take the crop residue away from the field. So usually board residue, or in recent years, they just do baling and making the feeding materials, and also for making fuels. So the crop residue was removed and the soil disturbance is very often, in that area. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Ren. And another question is about the role of crop rotation and organic amendments in this system. What's the role of crop rotation and organic?
That's a very, very good question. That's actually, we have not resolved this problem yet, because after, let's say, several years of the no-till system, because the system has changed and some of the perennial weeds we can't control with herbicides. So we have to introduce new rotational systems, like in my plots we have soil bin and crop rotation, so that can control some weeds, but not all of the weeds. So now we have do some other study, like introduce some cover crops to control weeds, and all kinds of crops like rice and some other crops to control weeds. So we are still in study of those kind of systems. So that's one thing about crop rotation. What is your other question about?
Organic amendment.
Organic amendment, yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, a few years ago, our students did some survey. In the past, the farmers in Northeast China had applied organic waste, a lot. That's the key way that why the traditional system has been sustainable. But just in the last 30 to 40 years, the farmers have been forget the organic fertilizer and they use chemical fertilizers, mostly. So we noticed that only less than 5% of the farmers use organic manure in the past few years. But recently we have been doing research work to try to make some new technology for the farmers to use the organic manure easily. So there's some researchers and there's some equipment have been developed, in the last few years. And I think in next maybe 4 or 5 years, organic manure will be used, more and more by the local farmers. So we still are doing researches and develop those technologies and equipment for the farmers to use organic manure. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Professor Ren. A question is about what's the difference between conservation agriculture and no-tillage? So what's the difference? Because some people confused about conservation and the no-tillage.
Okay.
So please, thank you.
That's also a very good question. I just asked the question in the message, in text message, and actually the conservation tillage is not really it's a very big concept. It includes many of the tillage systems. It's just if you have a tillage system that is not plowed soil, that's all conservation tillage. But for no-till is the extreme of conservation tillage. Because no-tillage, you just remove all the tillage systems, and also you have to have your soil surface covered by crop residue. At least 30% of the surface area should be covered by the surface. So no-tillage is one of the extremes of the conservation tillage. Okay, and also some people ask about the difference between conservation tillage and conservation farming. So the farming, I think, is even larger. You have to include crop rotation and other things in your system. So not really just tillage. So like pest control and fertilizer application, and also the ratio between organic and chemical fertilizers, that all should be concerned in the conservation farming. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. The last question, the last question. So I think it's reached to the extension services. So audience participant asked it how to reach farmers to really consume farmers to adopt the good practices for black soil protection. How to reach farmers? How to adopt good practices by farmers.
I guess that's the hardest thing we have been doing in the past over 10 years. As I mentioned earlier in my presentation, that we extended a network of black soil cultivation in Northeast China. Those are all the farmers, At least we started that in 2015. We organized like 30 about farmers, in that areas. So we get them together and we showed them how the no-till seeder works, and we give some training classes, how that works. That not just us, those engineers, okay, and they also help them a lot, and how to do the planting, how to control the weeds, and how to apply fertilizers. That's one thing. The other thing that we are very fortunate that the local government are really helpful. Where they give the subsidies to the farmers. So if you use the no-till systems, they will give you like 40 yuan to 60 yuan, per more. So the farmers can get some benefits from that. Okay, that's another thing. The other thing that we did some field demonstrations. We have a no-till and consolidated plots in the summer and also in the spring times and same times. We invited the farmers to see how that operates in the fields. And also at harvest times, we invited them to go to the field to see, what's the difference between the different systems in crop yield and crop performance. And lastly, every year in the winter times, we have a summary about our progress we made in the past years, and we give some awards to those farmers. They used our system, and so I think slowly the farmers are getting bigger and bigger, and now we have over 100 so big farmers joining us, and also I think we have if we have those organizations, we can make the price of the seeds and the fertilizer cheaper, so that is also attractive to them to use our system. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Ren, and your answer to the question. Thanks a lot. So now
thank you, Doctor. I just have a suggestion. Okay, you can leave my email message to those people, so they can send me messages later. I can talk with them later. Okay.
Okay, perfect. We will share the information. Thank you very much. Okay. So now I would like to move to Professor Chen Xueli about the questions addressed to you. So, yeah. Okay,
so,
I'm
here. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So the first question is about the quantity of organic fertilizers. So how much quantity of organic fertilizers that is crucial for increasing soil organic matter?
Okay. Actually, the organic organic materials include manure and straw. It's different types of organic matter input the soil. Actually, how much and how much the organic carbon in the manure could transformation to the soil organic carbon. Is it? I think it's in our research result, we found we can calculate it by the nitrogen content for the chemical fertilizer input. And then we calculated how much the manure input. Is it clear?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I think another question is about biofertilizer. What's your opinion about biofertilizers? So because sometimes it's not it's complicated, but very important. So what's your opinion about biofertilizers and how could you use biofertilizers in the field?
Yes, biofertilizer is a very important product to improve the soil quality. But as you say, the the quality of the biofertilizer is not really not really the at the same level. I think the first problem is the bacterial or fungi or the soil microorganism should be survived in the soil, and then they can play some functions. So the key problem is the how to give them the suitable environment. In my opinion, I think we could do some research or application for the biofertilizer used in used by the how to say, in the high organic matter fertilizer together. At first, to make sure they are survived. And the second, I think, in my opinion, is we should give more standard for the biofertilizer production.
Okay, thank you, Professor Chen, and thank you for your answer to the questions. And now I would like to move to Professor Jia. Professor Jia, are you here?
Okay, thank you, Yuxin.
Thank you. Okay, so I think there is a question about the parent rock. So can parent rock determine the black color of black soils? So
No. I don't think so. And if he or she learned from the presentation of the Dr. Gamin Zhang, actually there are many dust, yellow like the dust, which is moving from the central part of the China, and then from central to the northeastern China, and then decomposing as part of the black soil, in the deep layer. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Jia. Another question is about, something happened before. Is black soil adequate to mine or apply to other soils as amendment materials? I think this question is about to use black soil in other regions to sell black soils. So this is a question.
Yeah, now in principle, there is no problem. But I mean, technically speaking, in practice, I think it's extremely difficult. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, I think also from the black soil law in China, it's forbidden to sell black soils to other countries, because I read the news like before there are some people sell black soils, big area black soils, and degrade the black soils in the northeast China and sell them in the southern China. Okay.
Yeah, I would like to emphasize one thing that Mr. Dr. Li Fengli mentioned at the very beginning of this web seminar. He mentioned that China now is the only country that has black soil protection legislation, which was issued by the Chinese National Congress of the Chinese people. So this is the only one legislation in the world. So it's strictly forbid the black soil application from the northeastern China to other place is strictly forbidden. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Jia. Another question is from my side. So I see you mentioned acid paddy soil. So it means those black soil are have a problem of acidification. So because black soil generally the pH is higher. So what's the situation in Northeast China about the acidification of black soils? And but it seems it's very serious in paddy soils. So please explain a little bit. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I would like to say, so because as you remember, so the acidification, soil acidification in the northeastern China is a severe problem very recently, because there are lots of the chemical fertilizer that are applied into the field, and mostly in the form of ammonia, and ammonium is oxidized to the nitrate, and then it releases the proton, which makes soil acidification. So a long time ago, generally speaking, soil pH in black soil is around the 60.5 to 7, but now many places the range is largely between the 5.5 to 6.5. So, and then this is one thing. The other thing is because you see there is only the 3 crop care, the agricultural activity is very high. The plant assimilates the nitrate or ammonium. In return, the protein is also released into the soil to make the ionic cations the balanced. Therefore, again, the plant growth also can lead to acidification of the soil. So I think this is a severe problem. I would like to, the final concern that I would like to say, you know, the Academy of the Chinese the Engineering Academy, so also launched a program about the soil acidification in China, particularly in northeastern China, very recently. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your answer. And we are happy to see that the scientists and the government noticed that the acidification problem in Northeast China black soil area would be a big problem, and they start to address these issues now. So that is very important, because from your research, from the researchers, they notice this is the problem, and then trigger project from the government to start to prepare the solutions as soon as possible. So soon, it's good. It's very good. It's very good. Thank you very much for your answer. So thank you. So I think we addressed some questions, but because of the time limitation, I'm sorry we cannot address all the questions from the audience. So, but we have saved all your questions, and we will answer them in our webinar report. In the end, I will also want to answer a question from audience, like can we share the presentations? Sure, we will share the presentations on our website, and we will send the link, include the recordings, including the presentations, and also the agenda to use through emails after 2 or 3 days after we summarize everything later. So thank you very much. Now I'm glad to invite the chair of the International Network of Black Soils, Professor Miguel Bacta from Argentina, to give us a closure remarks. So the floor is yours, Miguel. The chair,
okay.
Our chair. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Eugene. Thank you. And good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I think that there are only a few minutes, so I will try to be very, very brief. Many thanks to all lecturers, and thank you by the excellent presentations. And thank you for all the attendance. I think that the webinar was highly successful in terms of the number of attendants. That there were never lower than 200 and averaged 280 during the 2 hours of all the webinar. This manifests all the interest in this webinar. I think that all the lecturers helped us to describe and to meet the objectives of this webinar, that were to describe and analyze different good practices for black soil management in China and black soils in China, particularly where the use of no-till farming and all the limitants and benefits of no-till farming in China, that they are, I listen this with attention, because in my country there are also no-till farming, and the conditions are very, very different, particularly in terms of climate and soil formation. So it was very, very, very good. It was very good how to increase soil biodiversity by the application of different amendments and organic amendments, and increasing biodiversity and the impact in different in soil microbes and soil bacteria. Very, very, very good this presentation, and there's very good presentation in terms of the explanation of why soil nitrogen and soil organic carbon are so high in black soils of China. It's very interesting, but it seems that the cold climate seems to have a very important key role in the very high organic carbon contents and nitrogen contents, but also the different plant parent materials, the loess materials and ballasts and so on. It also contributed the lecturers to identify gaps and challenges. That it was the other objective of this webinar. Particularly, and the gaps are the interrogation about the time of formation of black soils, that it seems to be longer than supposed, and the analysis was very, very interesting, and the influence of this that have not only the different parent material and tone and climate, but also bioturbation, and particularly the analysis of how fast soils formed, black soils are formed, and the role of bioturbation and thus deposition. Okay, and by the end, this is the second webinar. The first webinar was in Argentina in November 2023. Was highly successful, and this second webinar, they're closely connected, because both countries have black soils, and particularly black soils of Argentina are devoted to grain production, and most of the grain, particularly soybean, is exported to China. And so, despite this difference and the different climate, because we have snow in our country, the threats on the soils are quite similar: soil erosion, low soil organic matter content, and balance of plant nutrients. So it's very interesting to analyze how different conditions led to similar soil threats. So many thanks to all of you, and I hope to see you in another webinar. Many thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, Miguel, for your conclusion and summary. Yes, you are right. This webinar is excellent, and we invite very, very knowledgeable experts from China, and they introduced their practices, their good studies, and also some scientific point of view, like the formation of black soils. I also learned a lot from this webinar, and I'm thanks a lot for the speakers, for the professors, and I also want to thanks to the all audience for your interest to the black soils. The black soils are fundamental to food security, the first, and the second also climate change mitigation. Thanks a lot for your interest and stay with us to now, like more than around 2.5 hours. Thank you very much. So in the end, I would also like to invite all the participants, and if you're interested, please join us, join the International Network of Black Soils. And we will organize a series webinars later. We will also support member countries for protect black soil through project. We also harmonize some definitions. So we are working for a lot of things at global level to protect black soils. So welcome if you like this topic, you want to contribute to this topic, please join us. Please review our website and then register to the Black Soil Network. Thank you very much. So it's time to close the webinar today, and thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks again very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Professor
you.
Zhang,
Bye.
Professor
Thank you
Yuan,
very much.
Professor
Bye.
Chen,
Bye. Bye,
Igor.
Justin.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
my
you very
Thank
much.
you.
Have a good day,
Bye.
good night, colleagues. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, Yixin.